Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat, our WWE show of the week. My name is George Coles. This is my tag team partner, Hakushi.
Really? Thanks, Gabe, Gary Rhodes.
And before we get into something, I think you had something you wanted to talk about.
Well, we did a previous show, our Under the Radar series, about beautiful Bobby Eaton. Well, Bobby is in the hospital right now, and he's battling pneumonia and some heart issues. So we'd like to, really send our prayers and hopes out for Bobby to get well. And if you ever don't really know who Bobby is, take a look at the
video we did about a month or two back. We did a video about him, and he's a guy that we're really big fans of, and he's the reason why we started the Under the Radar segments was Bobby Eaton, because we were talking about it one day how people growing up now don't know about Bobby Eaton, and it's someone they don't talk about on TV much.
Well, Arn gets a lot of the credit, which, for being a tag team expert, which Arn was, no doubt about it. Bobby was almost just as great as him, in certain aspects better, because he could do the high-flying ability.
Exactly.
But, if we put the link down there, you can do it this time.
No, that's your gimmick.
Down there.
Even though Lou tried to steal it the other night.
I know, right? Thanks, Lou. But, we'll put that show down there, and maybe some of Bobby's matches if we get a chance to tonight.
Yeah. Anyway, but on to and all prayers and concerns. Please say a prayer extra for Bobby. Hopefully he makes it out fine. But on to the WWE Raw show. The first thing we had was Big Show coming out. Started off with a promo saying about the 45 seconds, calling out Daniel Bryan, which led to a hilarious segment in the back.
No. Yes.
He said no to everybody, including Little Jimmy.
He did. Even Little Jimmy. I even had a cheap pop on that. And he went out there. And to me, it's just like he lost on SmackDown. Don't let him get crushed to the Big Show. That's my thing. The guy is the most over guy in the company. You've seen it in the entrance when he comes down.
Yeah. And I love the little goat face masks they got. They're hysterical to me.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan is a guy, I think. And I think the spot-on comparison is Punk and Bryan are Shawn and Brett, and it's dead on. And I think Daniel Bryan's better than Brett, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, and it's a little bit of Stone Cold 316 because pretty much anything that DB brings out becomes a slogan, becomes something that there's a T-shirt made out of.
Like this one?
Well, that one just came out. Then the Yes Chants were. When we were at Mania, we're off the charts. Yeah. And then a couple weeks after Mania, the Yes shirt.
Speaking of Daniel Bryan and CM Punk being this generation's HBK and Hitman, the next segment we had was Paul Heyman and CM Punk teasing that they were going to reveal who he's going to pick, either Ryback or John Cena for the pay-per-view. And then they said they're not going to tell the fans because the fans weren't being respectful. And brings out Vincent Kennedy McMahon with the greatest walk in the history of walks, in my opinion. The Vince McMahon power walk is the best thing ever. I do it as much as humanly possible.
He does, dude. It's funny. It's hilarious.
But Vince, we said it on last week's show. If Vince didn't believe in CM Punk as much as we think he does, he wouldn't invest his time in being part of the on-air storyline with him. He doesn't do storylines with guys he don't believe in.
And the thing is, too, look how long Punk's held the belt.
Yeah.
And it's about time that he gets that main event spot.
Exactly. Now, after that little segment, we had Alberto Del Rio versus Brodus Clay. Something that you wanted to point out that you pointed out that I didn't even really think of.
Brodus was his henchman back when ADR first came out with his Edge feud right before WrestleMania a couple years back. Brodus Clay was his little henchman. In fact, he's the one that hit Edge with the chair and kind of, I would say, caused the damage for him to retire, but it didn't help none.
Well, it's what sent him to the doctor to get checked out, and that's when he told him he had problems. Which, it's kind of a blessing that he caught him like that before something terrible happened to Edge.
Yes.
But, that's a good thing that most people don't remember. Brodus was only his lackey for like a month or two, and I think Brodus ended up getting injured.
Well, what it was is Brodus was on NXT, and he was Ted DiBiase's rookie.
Yeah.
Then ADR No, actually, no. He beat. Shoot, what happened? Brodus beat up Teddy and started working for ADR, and then the whole henchman thing, and then when ADR got drafted to Raw, that ended that.
And you notice Brodus didn't have an entrance this week. There was a lot of no entrances or abbreviated entrances. I'm thinking more to fit everything they fit into the show, because they did fit a lot into the show.
Yeah.
But I think it's the start of them changing Brodus's push. There was no dancing with it, so maybe they're going to eventually build to Monster Brodus. Decent match altogether. But our next match of the night was Santino and Zack Ryder versus the Primetime Players. You know, I don't get why you're putting a guy as over as Santino or as Zack Ryder with a guy like Santino. Santino's dragging Ryder down, in my opinion.
They're both cheesy gimmicks. I don't miss it when either of them show up.
But Zack is over, though.
He's over with the kids, and that's good. But my thing, one of the bigger letdowns in this, of the 4 men involved in this match, would probably be what's his name?
Titus O'Neil.
Titus O'Neil. Sorry about that, folks. It's been a long day. Titus O'Neil has an opportunity to be one of the monster heels if he wants to. He's got size, he's got speed, and he's got agility.
Yeah. Speed and agility?
Exactly. The thing is, he's not a great talker. I would just kill the mic skills and let him go out there and just destroy people.
Yeah. It was a decent match, solid. I like that they're starting to build up the tag team division. I really do think it's going to be something they can, build on with these guys like the Primetime Players, the Clones who wrestle later. They've got a lot of decent tag teams there right now. Mm-hmm. Now the next match was kind of a tag team match, but a handicap match with Ziggler and Otunga versus Ryback.
And I called this right from the get-go. I knew Ziggler was going to leave Otunga for the Wolf, known as Ryback. It was just like, why don't you just do it with Otunga? I guess it was just to get Ziggler out there.
Yeah, get him out, get him seen. Remember.
It was smart with the way they handled it, though, because you don't want your guy that could be the next world champion get destroyed by the could-be next WWE champion.
Yeah.
Not on a free show.
No, not at all. And then after that, we had Antonio Cesaro versus Justin Gabriel. Really solid match.
I tell you what, that was one of the best matches I've seen in a while.
I tell you what, and I've said this ever since he's got there, Antonio Cesaro, to me, is a guy in the next 5 years you're going to see headlining WrestleMania. I mean, he's got everything you need to be a huge superstar.
Well, he just said it himself. He is what a superstar should be.
Exactly.
He's not too flamboyant, just enough. He's just the perfect amount of everything.
Exactly.
And his strength, that's what impresses me with this guy more than anything, is just the raw...
He's deceptively strong.
Exactly. Like, you would see him next to Cena and think Cena was 10 times stronger than him. I guarantee you, he's a lot stronger than Cena is. Good arm or bad.
Exactly. And then after that match, we had Kane versus Stryker, when Stryker basically got killed for complaining and accidentally saying crazy in front of AJ. So they're going back to that gimmick.
Exactly. Well, don't break it or fix it or whatever. It was just terrible.
Yeah.
I like Stryker. I hate seeing him get hurt. I got my picture with the guy.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Even though mine was taken from a bad angle because I had a horrible cameraman.
True.
But
camera loves me.
Stryker's a guy. I hope this brings a little more Stryker action in ring because he's not a bad worker. I'd like to actually see him turn into somebody's manager. I think he's a terrific talker.
I think when they had him on the announce table, he was one of the best new announcers in the last 5 years.
Right. And then the thing with Kane brought out Daniel Bryan afterwards. Well, Kane came out in Bryan's match and kind of stopped Big Show from punching him. And they talked about them fighting like brothers, which brings up our question of the week. Last week's question was, who do you think out of the Hart brothers, Just Owen or Bret, was better? Now, we got some answers from friends of ours. The first one came from our friend Paul Panda Bear Pickett. Got to go with Bret on the better Hart brother. Come on, guys. Owen was good, but he had some high-flying spots, but Bret was one of the best technical wrestlers in the WWE, if not the best. Then we also got another one from our friend Lou over at the Deadly Sins, the guy that stole Gary's gimmick. Well, he said up there, not down there.
Lou, you don't want to go one-on-one with the Undertaker tonight, do you?
Oh my God, I can't believe you worked that in there. There's two of them, so there's a tag team match.
Oh, that's gonna be the tag team main event, playa.
Wait. I would have to. Lou put. I would have to say Brett was. He was one of the best. Period, and he said he is the best there is, best there was, and best there will ever will be. Plus, thanks for the Batman voice. Shout out George and Gary. The Teddy Long impersonation's getting better.
Thank you.
Worked out well there. You did it to Teddy right
My
before.
cheek pop.
At least somebody likes it.
Hey.
What do you think out of Owen or Brett?
Honestly, it's not the popular opinion, but I go with Owen. Owen can do any technical move Brett could do. I mean, they learn from the same guy. And I think I liked his sharpshooter better. High flying ability, he was 10 times better than Brett. Faster than Brett. Younger than Brett, which, I mean, he never made it to, I think if he wouldn't have done the accident wouldn't have ever happened, I think he had a chance to be bigger than Brett. Because his matches with Hunter were awesome. He brought Hunter out just as much as Mick Foley did, and he don't get the credit that Mick got.
Well, another thing, it's something that I've talked about with you, not on camera, but how big would have Owen Hart and Brian Pillman been in the Attitude Era? These guys, they kind of helped lay the groundwork for the Attitude Era, but didn't get to see the fruits of their labor. These guys would have.
It's sad. It's one of those things that.
I mean, Owen Hart would have been one of Austin's main rivals for a long time if he got. I think it was said he was going to retire in 5 years anyway, which would have put it 2003, which would have been the end of Austin's career anyway. But imagine some of the matches he could have had with guys like Rock, guys like Austin, Triple H, Jericho when he came there a couple of years
I
later.
think that'd be a dream match, him and Jericho. That's the match we never even brought up, too.
Exactly.
And Edge looked up to the guy because, I mean, he was. I think right now, though, if he wasn't dead, he would have probably stayed to 2003 at least.
Yeah.
And I think he would have been in charge of the back room.
Exactly.
In the locker room. And I think he'd probably be.
And Brett would have patched up things with Vince probably a whole lot sooner than they did.
And I think he'd be an agent. What's your opinion?
I'm going to go with what the guy said. I'm going to go with Brett just for the fact of all the championships, and the guy deserves the respect he gets. He is one of the best champions. I thought he carried the belt really well in WWE. The WCW shit on his career. The thing with Owen is what could have been, whereas Brett is what actually was.
And I'll go with you. I like the Brett. I mean, there's only two choices. Punk reminds me a lot of Brett.
Yeah.
Just for plain respect. Brett didn't get a lot of respect his first title run either.
No.
And the same with Punk. But that's just opinion.
Here's another good fact about both the Hart brothers. They both worked really well with Yokozuna. Brett against him, and Owen with him as a tag team. Mm-hmm. Who is a guy that's really underrated, I think, in history. Which leads us to our question of the week for this week. Who do you think the best wrestler above 400 pounds? Now, they don't actually have to be above 400 pounds, but they had to have been billed as being over 400 pounds.
Super heavyweights.
Yeah, super heavyweights. Let us know what you think. Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up on Facebook. Put it down where?
Down there.
Right in the comments. Gave him his spot. And there goes the Mark McGuire impersonation.
That's right. That's Mark McGuire.
That's the Bo Breaker.
Not true.
You still popping for Bo Jackson?
Bo Jackson
like you're playing Tecmo Super Bowl?
Dude, Bo Jackson's best baseball player of all time. Let's not even get into that.
Jesus Christ.
Best football player too.
It's like you never heard of Willie Mays.
Willie Mays, yeah, shit.
But anyway, after that, the question is, in case you guys missed it with all Gary trying to hit his spots, the best guy billed at over 400 pounds. Let us know what you think about that. Now, our next thing was Miz TV with Kofi Kingston. Miz did the first couple Miz TVs I thought were terrible.
Oh my God.
He really stepped it up on this one. He was taking shots at Kofi.
Deep shots too. You could see that even if they went over it in the back, it still stung Kofi. A lot of venom in those shots.
I'm thinking that Kofi and him are good friends because he let him go with that, and I think they came up through OVW around the same time. Was a really good kind of promo section. Miz is getting a little bit better, finding his way with the Miz TV stuff, and they're going to actually wrestle tomorrow night
on
main event on Ion Television for the Intercontinental title. I hope Kofi wins it. I'm really big on Kofi, as you guys know if you've watched the show more than once.
I'm going with Miz on it. just because I want to see the next time Kofi holds a belt be a heel.
You know what? In their match that happened later on, that the Trouble in Paradise that he hit, it was brutal on Miz's face. It looked like someone botched somewhere. Either he hit it too quickly, or he was too close to the ropes. But if he would have hit that move on Punk when they were playing Street Fighter,
I was about to get to that. Yeah.
then Zangief wouldn't have beat him.
Exactly. Sorry, Kofi. Punk beat your ass.
Yeah. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, it's on the extras on the CM Punk DVD. He plays Kofi Kingston at Street Fighter, and according to what both of them say, it's the first time he beats him in 10 games, and he's just running him down, and Kofi gets legitimately pissed. It's
so he's tweeting, he's like, I just beat Kofi. He
it's funny
tells
as
the bus
shit.
driver, guess what, Paul, I just beat Kofi.
It was funny as shit.
Yeah.
And then we had, for the second time in 2 weeks, Sheamus versus Wade. Wade Barrett. I really, really, really love these two working together.
I honestly do too, and I'm not a Sheamus supporter. I'm very against Sheamus, but I tell you what, he is actually stepping his game up, and him and Wade are working good together. And the thing is too, Wade didn't get the loss.
The thing I like about the matches is that neither one of them is looking bad coming out of the matches.
No.
And a good wrestling match, win or lose, the guys both come out looking great, and that's what's happening with these. They both look like $1 million going in and coming out. I think it's tremendous. I really love what they're doing with each other.
Well, Wade,
I'd rather see Wade versus Sheamus at the pay-per-view than Big Show versus Sheamus.
Well, Wade was supposed to come back before Money in the Bank and win it
And
for the
then
world
cash
title
in.
shot.
But
He was before Ziggler.
Yeah.
You didn't know that.
And then after that, well, that's rumored.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious.
After that, we had our obligatory Divas match, Eve versus Layla. Eve wins, heel way. Done with that. That's all we gotta say about that. You trying to touch Hunter's junk?
I did. It was
We'll
more
have to
entertaining. It was more entertaining than that match was. I hate to say it. I don't like squashing the divas and stuff like that. I don't like
No,
squashing.
we'll put over a Divas match. We put over matches on TNA all the time.
Their matches are better.
Exactly.
I'll often
And
say.
we said that on our TNA show. The knockouts are 10 times better than the Divas. Hopefully Sarah Del Rey can help change that. After that, we had a tag team match, the Rhodes Scholars versus the Clones. The reason for this match is because Rey Mysterio is out with a flu, which actually I read today is a stomach virus. It's pretty bad.
Okay.
That's why he couldn't wrestle in. It was the finals for the #1 contender for Team Hell No's.
So that kind of makes it look like that they're expecting them to win, or they would have just substituted Ray with somebody else and let which is what they should have done. Is substitute Ray with somebody else.
It kind of works for me because we still got a week before the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And the Rhodes Scholars, it was a decent match. I'm really liking what they're doing with this tag team division.
They're awesome.
We got several good tag teams: Rhodes Scholars, the Clones, the Primetime Players, the tag team champions.
I'm the tag team champion.
And even Ray and Sin Cara are a really good
Yes.
tag team. I really
All
like.
joking and venomous aside, I mean, this guy was. Me and him both really do not care for Sin Cara at all,
Right.
ability-wise. But you have to admit he's doing a lot better.
Exactly. And even, I think the three-man band guys, whatever they decide to tag team out of that's going to be good too. I mean, you got 3 decent workers.
Well, I don't think McIntyre's going to be doing too much with his hand out.
You know what they should do with those 3 is do a Freebird gimmick where they wrestle 2 out of the 3 and it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go to the main event segment, which wasn't a match.
Well, we had the Kofi match, but we already went over that.
Yeah. The main event segment was the contract signing with CM Punk. Vince McMahon was picking Punk's opponent, as he said earlier, and he came out with both Cena and Ryback. It kind of was a short segment as compared to most contract signings. Basically, John Cena probably got the bad news that he can't go at Hell in a Cell, so he said, "Well, I'm going to do that. I would want to say I want to fight you, but I'm looking at this guy's eyes, and he just wants to fight." And he lets Ryback take the match. To me, it's kind of a pussy move after these weeks of Cena saying it would have been better them saying he's not medically cleared.
I would have gone for that.
Than him stepping out of the way. I don't think it fits John Cena's character, and I'm not a big fan of John Cena's character.
No.
The only way I think it'll be good is if Cena turns on Ryback somehow. And that's the setup for it. Then after Ryback hits the shell shock on CM Punk, build it big. I know Paul and Lou talked about it on their podcast. I think they're putting Ryback up in the main event picture way too quick. He's not ready for that. His build hasn't been good enough. He's not fought enough top level talent to be there.
He's the only main top level guy he's fought so far is Miz.
They could have substituted a number of guys if Cena couldn't have went.
Even Ziggler. I would have thought Ziggler would have been good. He's not
even Rey Mysterio. I mean, if they just wanted to go with a face, it could have been somebody like Mysterio. Could have easily fit in this role, but they're going with Ryback. It's not the decision I would have made.
Kofi would have put a hell of a match on. Kofi being the
face.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah! But they might have squashed Kofi a little bit though too.
I don't know. If honestly, like we said earlier, if you're in that main event spot and you put on a good show, I think it'll make a guy.
Yeah, but it's not the main event we want to see. At least it's not Cena and Punk, so that's good. But basically, that's really all I got to say about the show. You got anything else you need to add?
I'm good.
Keep saying all your prayers for Earl Robert Eaton. And basically, that's all we have for this week.
Y'all have a good week. We'll see you next week.
I'm George Coles.
I'm Gary Rhodes.
And this has been Heel Heat.